All right. I'm so excited to be joined today by Thomas Middleditch, who plays Terry, and Sean Giambrone, who plays Yumulak in Solar Opposites Season 5. My first question is for Thomas and is about the show. Do you have a favorite t-shirt worn by Terry, and are these in the script?
Mm, I'm trying to think if they're in the script. I don't think they are because I think they just kind of probably work. They probably have like 20 pitches for each episode, right? Um, but I actually have because I don't really know them until I see the show myself. They sent us a little collection from season 5. Let me see. I like uh I like Hocus Wocus. I think that's really funny. And O'Queef. They're always just like, great, good, winning. It's funny. Cobra Bai is great.
Um, Sean, do you have a favorite too before I ask you the next question?
Um, oh, I think I saw Destiny's Uncle, and I like that quite a bit.
Oh, it's so good. Okay, Sean, I'm curious if you can walk us through the process of first reading your lines. Do you get a script at home?
I get a scripted I'm really tempted to say something goofy about this, but no, I just read it. I'll read it like once or twice, and then I'll I'll go in. And lately, I've actually been watching like clips of the show just to kind of like just get back to that rhythm because there's a note generally where it's like louder and faster or more energy or something. And so if I listen to that, then it generally kind of just boom gets me back into that pacing of it.
Very cool. Is improv involved at all?
Here and there, here and there, yeah. I mean, we're very fortunate we get some pretty great scripts, and they've got a rhythm to it and a pace. So I mean, personally, I only go off King, go off King when it feels warranted or when I'm inspired, right? There are some times when we're in the booth and we're kind of like this line, I don't know, maybe the joke is it isn't hitting as much as we want. So we'll pitch some alts just on purpose to try and get there, or maybe just earmark it for the writers to take a look at it or something. But it's like when you're doing that and you just all the only thing you have is like a script and your own voice in the headphones. There's no visual medium. You kind of just have to like build yourself up to get into a flow. And if you're saying the lines and then going off a little bit and coming back on, if it's funny and it doesn't put the runtime of the episode too long, they'll use it. And that's kind of the funnest thing about if you say something that you're like, I think that was funny, and then like a year and a half later, when you see the episode, they're like, they put that in. Hey, they made animators draw my stupid little off the cuff goof frame by frame. I like it.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Practically, what is it like to record? Do you do it remotely?
I don't. I think Mary does, right?
Yeah, Mary does. I
Yeah, because
think
she lives out there in Minnesota.
Oh,
But yeah, I go to Mark Greer Studios right here in beautiful Studio City / Burbank, California. Home of just about every voiceover you could ever think of.
well,
He's got this. I don't know if you've ever been to this. I don't know if you've ever been to this voiceover studio, but there's like a cutout of him, famous studio tech, and they always want you to like go and sit, put your arm around it. Then they take pictures of it, and there's these little TVs that's like throughout the ages of like people with the real Mark, and then people. I guess maybe he doesn't come into the office that much, and then it's just around the cutout. It's great.
that's
Well,
fantastic. And Sean, you record there as well?
yep, same.
Do you record alone or is it like a group recording?
Mainly it's alone, but with a director, and I'm like I've had different directors over the years, but mainly it's with Sydney, one of the producers, and yeah, she's awesome, and that's what it
That's
yeah.
is.
very cool. When do you first hear the pupas lines? Is that not until the episodes come out?
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't hear anybody else's lines until the episodes come out, unless it's a situation where it's ADR. It's like somehow later on in the process, and we have to like maybe fix a line, and there's something to play back and go off of. But yeah, when you're first laying down the tracks, it's you're kind of in your own. You're really separated. You're just isolated. Say that line minimum of 3 times, maybe 3 different ways. If they still need more, you stay with it. Then you move on to the next. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, do you ever do that? I have like a bad habit where I won't stop. I'll just keep going because like, oh, when you get more ideas. Do you ever do that thing and then like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. Like,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, sometimes, well, because you're also because the voice director is going, hey, you need to try something else. But then you're also because you're hearing it and you're going, oh, why did I? I mean, when you as an actor, you should have plenty of times where you say a line, live action or animated or whatever. You're like, what was that? Well, that came out so weird. Did I forget how to talk as a human being? What am I doing? So you're like, let me try that again, please. But that's a good part about animation is that you can just try it. You can just try that line or try that even just that section again and again and again. Whereas if if you're live action, you got other partners, other scene partners to worry about. You can't just like reset and be like a robot. That would be the most difficult way to try and get a scene done. So
Okay, I have time for one last question for both of you. I'm going to start with Sean. Which subplot or line from Yumulak do you find most absurd?
well, throughout the whole run,
Throughout the whole run?
um, there was well, okay. The one of the clips that I rewatch a lot before going in is the Wooden City stuff, and that was pretty absurd. And that was really fun. And then there was a line about Shirley Temple once that I don't think was used, but that one always sticks. Like that one's been in my like. I don't. I just remember. I think I blocked it out because I don't remember what it was, but it was like that one stood out. It was like we're going there.
Oh, we need to release the Shirley Temple cut. Thomas, what about you for Terry?
I have enjoyed, I think, the discovery of from both the point of view of the audience, but I think also the writers that like Terry and Corvo, both separately and together, are this sort of like, I guess now probably decidedly gay, but like at first maybe just like indifferent or like omnisexual kind of creatures. And it was kind of like, oh, it was kind of like, it was kind of seen in its own little glimpse. And then everybody's like, that's great, that's great. And then so the writers like, we'll go with it. And it fed off of each other. And it's escalated into these like, they have affairs on each other and they're getting married. And it's that kind of, that I love it because the story's funny, but I also kind of like it a little bit more holistically in the sense that like each entity, the creators and the audience, fed off of each other, and I think that's kind of cool. Yeah.
Definitely agree. I love that aspect too. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. By the time you're watching this at home, I think that you can watch all 5 seasons of Solar Opposites that are currently on Hulu. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you, Avery.